Using Claude Code out of the box is like using VS Code with zero extensions. You are technically using it, but you are fundamentally missing it. This isn't my quote, it's from Anthropic's own developer relations team. And they are right, AI tooling is moving fast, really fast. It's not only the models that evolve, but also the approaches how we use them. New patterns emerge constantly. Workarounds for model limitations get discovered, shared, and standardized. With so many tools and so much information, it's tough to keep up. It's easy to get overwhelmed with everything that gets released every month. I remember the first time I looked at Claude Code's documentation. Commands, hooks, skills, subagents, MCP servers. I had no idea where to start or what each thing was for. So I am creating this video to give you a comprehensive breakdown. After watching this, you'll understand what each extensibility mechanism does, when to use it, and how they all fit together. Here's the key insight. Claude Code is not a smart assistant that happens to be extensible. It's a programmable AI platform. Think about how great developer tools evolve. VS Code started as an editor. Extensions turned it into a database client, a Docker manager, a REST API tester. The editor was the foundation. The extensions became the product. Claude Code follows the same trajectory. The conversational AI is the foundation. What you build on top of it is the product. Today we'll cover Claude.md files, commands, hooks, skills, subagents, plugins, and MCP servers. All of these are configured through Markdown files and JSON configs in the .claude folder of your project. You can also make them available across all your projects by putting them in the .claude directory in your home folder. Let's start from the foundation and work from the ground up. Claude.md is where it all begins. It shipped with Claude Code's initial launch on February 24, 2025, making it the oldest and most fundamental customization mechanism. These are simple Markdown files that provide persistent project context. They load automatically at the start of every session. No user invocation, no model decision, just always-on context. Claude.md works at 3 scope levels. First, project level. Put a Claude.md file in your project root and it loads for everyone working on that project. This is where you put team conventions, architecture overview, build commands. Second, directory level. Put a Claude.md in any subdirectory and it loads when Claude works in that directory. Use this for module-specific context. Third, user level. Put it in .claude/claudemd and it loads for every project you work on. Personal preferences, your coding style, patterns you always use. A typical project Claude.md includes your tech stack, build commands, project architecture, and coding conventions. It's usually 500 to 2000 tokens. Low cost, high impact. The key characteristics: it's always loaded, hierarchical, so directory files add to parent files, and it's version controlled, so your whole team shares the same context. Claude.md is the foundation everything else builds on. Skills extended with on-demand knowledge. Commands reference it for context. Subagents inherit relevant portions. Commands came next. You already know built-in commands like /help, /compact, clear, or model. Custom commands let you create your own. Think of them as explicit shortcuts for reusable prompts. You type /something. Claude executes a predefined workflow. Commands are stored as Markdown files. Project-level commands go in your projects.claude/commands folder and get shared with your team via Git. Personal commands go in your home directory under .claude/commands and stay private to you. The simplest command is a single line of text. Create a file called optimize.md with the content, analyze this code for performance issues and suggest optimizations. Now you have /optimize. More sophisticated commands use YAML front matter for configuration. You can specify which tools the command can use. You can set a different model. You can accept arguments. Here is what makes commands powerful. The exclamation mark prefix executes bash commands to inject dynamic context. So you can write exclamation mark get status, and the current get status gets injected into the prompt. The @ symbol references files, and $sign arguments captures whatever the user types after the command. You can organize the command in subdirectories too. Put a file in .claude/command/frontend/component.md and it becomes /component with a frontend label. Use cases. Standardized Git workflows like /commit or /PR create. Code generation templates like /component or /API endpoint. Project-specific operations. Documentation generation. The key thing about commands, they are explicit. The user decides when to invoke them. Claude doesn't guess. Hooks came on June 30th, 2025. They are fundamentally different from commands. Hooks are scripts that execute at specific points in Claude's lifecycle, before a tool runs, after a tool completes, when Claude sends a notification, when Claude stops. Unlike commands that you invoke explicitly, hooks are event-driven. They run automatically when their trigger conditions are met. There are 4 hook events. Pre-tool use runs before any tool executes. You can use this to block dangerous commands. Post-tool use runs after a tool completes. Perfect for auto-formatting code or logging actions. Notification runs when Claude sends notifications, and stop runs when Claude finishes a response. Hooks are configured in settings.json. You specify a matcher pattern and command to run. The matcher uses glob patterns to target specific tools or files. Here is a practical example. You want to auto-format TypeScript file every time Claude writes one. Your post-tool use hook matches write and runs prettier on the file path. Another example, you want to prevent accidental force pushes. Your pre-tool use hook matches git push force and exits with code 1 to block it. Here is one of my favorite hook patterns. Use the stop event to verify that code passes formatting and linting. If the check fails, Claude gets immediate feedback and fixes the issue. The hook keeps running until it exits with code 0. Hooks give you programmable control flow. They intercept, validate, and automate without manual intervention. Skills arrived on October 16, 2025. They introduced a sophisticated concept called progressive disclosure. A quick note here, since recording this video, Anthropic unified commands and skills under the same system in version 2.1.3. They now both appear under the slash menu and both can be invoked by you or by Claude. I'm covering them separately because they have different strengths, but no, they now share the same invocation mechanism. Here's the problem skills solve. You want Claude to have specialized knowledge about certain tools or domains, but you don't want that knowledge eating up your context window when you're working on something unrelated. Skills are model invoked. Claude decides when to load them based on semantic matching between your task and the skill description. This works through 3 levels of progressive disclosure. Level 1. At startup, Claude only loads the name and description of each skill, about 100 tokens per skill, just enough to know what's available. Level 2. When Claude determines a skill is relevant, it reads the full skill.md file, typically under 5000 tokens of instructions and context. Level 3. Skills can include bundle files, scripts, and templates. These load only when Claude determines they're actually needed. This architecture makes effective context unbounded, supporting resources load on demand rather than consuming tokens upfront. Every skill needs a skill.md file with YAML front matter. The front matter has a name and description. The description is critical. Claude uses it to decide when the skill is relevant. Skills live in 2 places. Your home directory is .claude/skills folder for your personal skills that follow you everywhere, or your projects.claude skills folder for team shared skills that live in Git. Multi-file skills can include reference documentation, templates, and executable scripts. Here's the use case I love most: CLI documentation. Building a skill for a CLI tool is trivial. Just ask Claude to run your command --help and create a skill from it. The help text becomes discoverable knowledge that loads automatically when you work with that tool. I built a skill for the WT Worktree CLI I reviewed in a previous video. Now, whenever I work with Git worktrees, Claude knows the exact commands and options without me having to explain anything. In December 2025, Anthropic published Agent Skills as an open standard at agentskills.io. This means skills you write for Claude Code could potentially work with other AI coding tools too. Subagents appeared around August 2025. They solve a fundamental problem. Complex tasks that would bloat your main conversation can be delegated to isolated instances. A subagent is a specialized AI instance with its own context window, system prompt, and tool permissions. It runs, completes its task, and returns only the results to your main conversation. The key characteristics that make subagents different: isolated context means they don't pollute your main conversation. Fresh context window for each invocation means no leftover conversation history. You can specify a different model, like using Haiku for fast codebase exploration, and they are perfect for parallel execution. Here's a powerful pattern. You have a large codebase migration, say updating 1,000 files from one React translation library to another. Instead of doing this in your main conversation and watching your context fill up, you spawn sub-agents to handle batches in parallel. Claude Code can run up to 10 concurrent sub-agents. There are built-in sub-agents. Explore is powered by Haiku for fast code-based searching. Plan helps with research during planning mode. And there is a general-purpose agent with access to all tools. Custom sub-agents are defined as markdown files. Put them in your projects.claude agents folder to share with your team, or put them in your home directories.claude/agents folder to keep them personal. The front matter specifies name, description, available tools, model, and skills. One critical thing to understand: sub-agents do not automatically inherit skills. While your main conversation loads skills based on task matching, sub-agents require explicit skill assignment. You have to list the skills in the front matter. If you don't, no skills load. Built-in sub-agents like Explore and Plan don't have access to skills at all. This is by design. They run focused, isolated tasks that don't need specialized knowledge. Use sub-agents for parallel research, code review with dedicated personas, documentation generation, while you continue working, running tests in isolation, or handling large refactors without polluting your main context. The plugin system launched in public beta on October 9, 2025. It's important to understand what plugins are and aren't. Plugins are not a new type of functionality. They are a packaging and distribution mechanism. Plugins bundle any combination of /commands, sub-agents, MCP servers, hooks, and skills into installable units. You create a plugin to share your customizations with your team or the community. A plugin structure includes .claude plugin directory with a plugin.json manifest, then optional directories for commands, agents, skills, and config files for hooks and MCP servers. Here is what makes plugins interesting: decentralized marketplaces. Any GitHub repo can serve as a plugin source if it has the right structure. Anthropic maintains an official marketplace at anthropic/ClaudePlugins official. But you can host your own internal marketplace for your organization. Plugin management uses /commands. /plugin list shows installed plugins. Plugin install adds one. Plugin uninstall removes one. Plugin update gets the latest version. You can install from the official marketplace, from any GitHub repo, or from a local path. Think of plugins like VS Code extensions. The marketplace becomes the distribution layer. Teams share configurations. Organizations standardize workflows. The community contributes domain-specific toolkits. MCP servers deserve a mention because they integrate with the plugin system and provide external extensibility. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. It's not Claude Code specific, it's a cross-platform standard. But MCP servers can be bundled in plugins. MCP servers provide three things: tools for external operations like database queries or API calls, resources for dynamic content that loads into context, and prompts for reusable prompt templates. You configure MCP servers in .mcp.json at the project level or in your user settings. Specify the server command and any required arguments or environment variables. The key distinction from skills: MCP servers are protocol-based tool providers. They give Claude new capabilities to do things. Skills are knowledge providers. They tell Claude how to do things. Often they complement each other. An MCP server provides database access, while a skill provides best practices for query optimization. With all these mechanisms available, how do you choose? It comes down to three factors: invocation style, context requirements, and distribution needs. Invocation style: is it explicit, automatic, or event-driven? Commands are explicit. You type them. Skills are automatic. Claude decides. Hooks are event-driven. They trigger on actions. Context requirements, shared or isolated. CLAUDE.md, commands, skills, and MCP all share the main conversation context. Subagents get isolated context. Distribution needs, personal, team, or public. Files in your home directory are personal and stay with you. Files in your projects.claude folder are team shared via Git. Plugins enable public distribution. Here's a quick reference. CLAUDE.md is automatic shared context, best for project conventions. Commands are explicit shared context, best for reusable prompts. Hooks are event-driven with no context impact, best for automation. Skills are model invoked, shared context, best for knowledge loading. Subagents are explicit or model decided, isolated context, best for parallel work. Plugins are user-installed, context varies, best for distribution. A complete workflow might combine all of them. CLAUDE.md defines your architecture. A skill wraps your internal CLI documentation. A subagent with that skill handles deployment. A command invokes the subagent with standard parameters. A hook auto-runs tests after file changes. A plugin packages everything for your team. Claude Code's extensibility architecture evolved from simple customization at launch through automation to intelligent capability management and full ecosystem distribution. CLAUDE.md is your foundation. Always loaded, low overhead, version controlled. Commands give you explicit shortcuts. Type them when you need them. Hooks give you event-driven automation. They intercept, validate, and control. Skills give you progressive disclosure. Claude loads knowledge when relevant. Subagents give you isolated context. Parallel work without pollution. Plugins give you distribution. Package and share your customizations. One thing I haven't covered, built-in tools like read, write, bash, and webfetch. These are the primitives Claude uses to act. You can't extend them, but you'll see them in Claude's logs. They're the foundation everything else builds on. Here's the best part. Building any of these is easy. Just describe what you want to Claude. Create a skill that wraps the kubectl CLI help. Build a hook that runs ESLink after every TypeScript file change. Make a sub-agent specialized for security review. Claude will generate the files. You review, test, and iterate. Generic AI gives everyone the same assistant. Claude Code lets you build the one you need. The compound returns come from combining these mechanisms. An assistant with your system context, team hooks, custom skills, and domain-specific agents isn't 4 times better. It's exponentially better. I hope this breakdown was useful. If you found value in it, a like helps the channel grow. Subscribe if you want more content about AI-powered development. And join our Discord if you want to discuss these topics with other developers. Thanks for watching, and remember, your cat probably already mastered Claude Code's plugin system while you were watching this video. Time to catch up.